In Blackjack, the Martingale betting system reigns supreme. It's a strategy as old as the game itself, promising the allure of big wins if you play your cards right. In this video, we're going to review a real-life session following the Martingale betting system. Here's how it works. After each loss, you simply double your bet, and when you win, you return to your original bet. Beware, this system is not for the faint of heart. If you're interested in getting a more in-depth understanding of the Martingale system, we have a dedicated video, and we'll provide the link. Before we begin, if you are passionate about mastering the art of blackjack, you're at the right place. Our Betwise Academy offers comprehensive courses on various betting strategies, including the Martingale system. Knowledge is power, after all. By subscribing, you're becoming a part of a community of avid learners and seasoned players. We believe in making betting a fun, safe, and educational experience. Hit that subscribe button, join the Betwise Academy, and embark on an exciting journey of learning and winning. Welcome to a live game walkthrough. Let's lay some ground rules. First, we aim to keep our sessions succinct yet informative. To ensure that, we intend to cap the session at 15 minutes. We have sped up the video in this instance. Second, we will be adhering to the stand on 17 rule and using hit stand charts. We can provide the links in the description for you to follow. Third, as mentioned before, we will be following the Martingale system throughout our gameplay. Lastly, let's talk about the initial bets. We're starting with a $10 bet. Each bet is 1% of our bankroll. We started off with our $10 bet, and our first hand is a push. Nothing to get excited about. We go again. We end up winning about 4 in a row at the start. Good start. One of the hands we get a 6 or 16 against a 5. Following the strict charts, we choose to double and get 21. Great hand. Our next hand, we get 12 against the dealer's 5. Tempting to hit, but by following the charts, we stand hoping the dealer busts. It doesn't happen, and we face our first loss. This is where we start our Martingale system, and we up the next hand to 20, 18 versus 20, and we lose. Double up again to 40, 16 against the dealer's 10. Not a great hand, but rules say we hit, and we get 18, and we win. This brings our balance back up. We bet our 10, and this hand we get pair 3 against the dealer's 5. We follow the charts to which we split. We end up getting 13 on both hands against the 5, and luckily the dealer busts. We win both hands. Initially, we can see that the Martingale system can help recoup our losses fast. We had lost 3 in a row, but one win at $80, we are back up to where we need to be. This is a positive about the system. We continue following the rules for a few more hands, betting or doubling, depending on what happened previously. We face a few lucky hands we push, so we follow and bet the same amount the next hand. 10 or 20 against 2, we stand naturally and the dealer busts. We continue and get a few more pushes. We have 13, dealer has a 9, not a great hand, and we hit. As expected, we bust. There are a few hands we expect to win, 20 against the dealer's 9, yet it's a push. 13 against a 3, so we continue to follow the chart and stand. The dealer busts, which is what we hope for. Just to recap the Martingale system, after each loss, you simply double your bet, and when you win, you return to your original bet. We have pair 2 against the dealer's 9. This is a tricky hand. Some charts say to split, some stand. The one we following says stand, so we stand. Lucky for us, we get 21. We end up getting to 1100, about a 10% gain against our starting balance. This took about 5 minutes and about 15 hands. And in theory, that could be deemed a good session. Our hand here was a 3 or 13 against the dealer's 4. The charts tell us to hit, so we do and get a hard 12. Now we stand, and dealer gets 18. We double up to 20 and hit pair 9s, giving us a total of 18 against the dealer's 4. Very tempting to stand here, but our charts tell us to split. We split and get 19 and a 13. Naturally, we stand on the 19, and even though it could be possible to hit on the 13, we don't, and we stand. Dealer gets 2 tens and bust. Perfect. That was a big hand, and now we get our bankroll up to $1,150. That's up 15% from where we started. For a typical session, that would be enough for bettors to call the end of the session. We don't, and we push ahead. As our previous hand won, we bet $10, we bust, not a big deal. We double next one up to 20, unfortunately we bust again. We double up to 40 and get a 12 against a 9. Not a great hand, we have no choice but to hit. Luckily we get an 8, a total of 20. Dealer opens to 18 and we are back up. We face a hand with 20 in, we get an 11 against a 5. Our charts tell us to double, which means we only get one card. We do that, we get a 4, a total of 15. Dealer hits to a soft 18. Next hand we have to double to 40 and we win. Next key hand to note, we are betting 10. Dealer gets an ace and offers insurance. Generally this bet is known to be a very bad bet to utilize, not offering good value for the punter. We will create a video about this specifically in the future, but in the meantime we ignore insurance and proceed and bust either way. As we continue, we hit a few losses and are betting $160. This time we lose. First time we have more than 4 losses in a row. That means our next bet becomes $320 and the dealer hits 21. This is where we face our first major hurdle with the Martingale system, the dreaded bankroll. While the video plays in the background, I will explain. Our next hand was meant to be 640. However, we only had around 500 left over. This is despite betting only 1% of our bankroll, which was our 4th rule we went in here with. You can imagine, when you're going into a session, you generally aren't going to be only betting 1% of your bankroll. In this instance, we only bet 525, and we actually hit, which brought us back up to 1,050. If we had bet with our proper amount of 640, we would have been up to $1,280, so we were $230 difference. So this clearly shows that the Martingale system, while good in the short term, if you run a string of losses, likely 5 or 6 in a row, your bankroll would have to be very deep to cover it. As we continue, we faced a few more 3 or 4 losses, which relates to $40 bet or $80 bets, and we are lucky regain a healthy balance. We continue with our strategy, and this time we hit a string of 6 wins in a row. We ultimately get to a point in the game where we reached $1,150, which is a 15% gain on our starting bankroll. But remember, we had shortchanged ourselves at the first major Martingale system hurdle of $230. This means at this point, we technically would be at $1,380, meaning we should have been at 38% gain. Now that by its own right is a healthy balance. At this point in the session, we face our problem again. We have a series of bad beats. On hands, we probably should have won, but didn't. We even faced 2 hands with $80 on the table, and they were both pushes, like the one on the screen where we get 21 and it was still a push. And we get to a point where we have faced a string of 6 losses in a row and get to a point where we meant to bet 640. But once again, only have 500 left. Luckily for us, our time limit of 15 minutes is up and we call it quits. In this video, we've learned about the Martingale betting system, watched it in action in a live game. Remember, the Martingale system is not a guaranteed way to win, but a strategy to manage your bets. It can regain your losses quickly based on the concept that a win will eventually come. But as you have seen in some instances, a string of losses can lead to an empty bankroll. Based on what we have seen, here are our top few ideas to consider using when applying the Martingale system. 1. Consider resetting to your original bet after 3 or 4 losses, depending on your bankroll and risk appetite. Yes, it will mean you might be down a little, but it also means if it is a string of losses, you have minimized the bankroll damage. 2. When applying this system, consider setting a low-end stop loss, aka if you lose 20 or 30 or 40% of your bankroll, to call it quits to fight another day. 3. Consider walking away at a small profit. 10 to 30% is still a good day. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to BetWise Academy for more strategies and tips.